So apparently in this flashback, you're supposed to be Cloud 5 years ago. Young Cloud. And you'll notice the Shinra soldier on the left. He's complaining about motion sickness. It'll be important later. Also, the uniform that Shinra soldiers wear, I think, is very similar to the Galbadian soldiers in Final Fantasy VIII. Because they have that helmet with kind of the visor with the 3 scopes on it or whatever. So, the cool thing about the flashbacks is that you can watch Sephiroth fight. It's kind of cool that they actually made a whole 3D model just to put Sephiroth in battle with you in this flashback scenes. Yeah. He didn't even revive Cloud. In my opinion, it would be cool if you eventually just fought Sephiroth one-on-one. I think this is the guy that had the motion sickness. Oh no, this guy. Bear is always the observant one, flailing his arms in the air. Okay, so once you get control of Cloud in the flashback, you can go talk to a bunch of people. So, go talk to people. This is Cloud's house. You can enter and get a scene with his mom, which I think is kind of interesting. I won't do it here, but it's kind of sad actually. It's kind of like a stream of conscience. It seems like he almost can't remember his mother and the conversation they had, and then the conversation ended with his mother telling him, "I'll always be your mother." And it's sad knowing that his mother passed away on this very night. So yeah, you have to go into Tifa's house. So say you went into her house, say yeah, and then go upstairs. And say yeah, you went into Tifa's room. And check the drawers for orthopedic underwear. Now this is a mistranslation. I think in the Japanese they're like something like choto senobi pantsu. Choto senobi. Literally, I think it means something like backstretch. but it means like a kid that's standing on their tippy toes to try to appear older, you know? So the translator mistook that and took it literally as some kind of orthopedic underwear, which is not really what it was. But yeah, you can examine Tifa's underwear, and Cloud puts it in his pocket. It's true. Okay, so basically, Chotos and LB Pensu means that Tifa's underwear looks like she's trying to be older, I guess. More grown up or whatever. Anyways, the important thing is you play the piano. Walk over to the piano. And then jam on it. And then you're supposed to play the... Actually, it doesn't matter what you play here. Something like that. But it really doesn't matter what you play. Eventually you come back later. And you can play the Final Fantasy VII main theme on the piano. And you get 1 gil. Then you come back again later and play it, and you get Tifa's ultimate limit break and another elemental materia. And then you can go walk around town, talk to more people. But that's not the point of my walkthrough, so you can talk to Zangan, by the way. That's Tifa's martial arts coach, Zangan. But go to Sephiroth and talk to him a couple times. And say that you're gonna get some sleep. And that will continue the events of the flashback. And then you talk to Sephiroth again. And then our tour guide comes. So Tifa is awfully impersonal, even though she hasn't seen Cloud in a couple years. I mean, apparently they were childhood friends. But she doesn't seem to have much to say. Also, Cloud and Sephiroth pose in a picture with Tifa. And this townsperson takes a photograph of them. We'll follow Tifa. Eventually the bridge gives out. So we continue on through the mountains. Alrighty. So this is actually an opportunity to see Sephiroth demonstrate some of the cooler mid-game spells. The tier 3 nukes all have different animations if you link them to an all materia. Kind of cool. It's a Mako fountain. And in-universe explanation of materia. It's kind of like trying to explain the Force, I guess. So you can actually enter the reactor. You notice that they always build reactors in these backwoods towns, and they always go wrong. Oh, whoops. You can walk down the chains by stepping onto this platform. Climb down the chains. And follow Sephiroth. This was probably a lot more impressive in 1997, but in 2020, watching a couple of midgets trying to have a conversation, not as impressive, but the music is still good. So you fix the valve and you talk to him. And I guess this is Cloud's first run-in with Hojo's experiments. But you can talk to Sephiroth and then Cloud will look through the window of this pod. Yep. So this is the part in the original FF7 that seems to come out of nowhere. Sephiroth seems like kind of a cool guy at first, actually, and then kind of snaps. But they kind of retconned this scene in Crisis Core and kind of added in the story of Genesis. Was another super soldier that came from a similar project that created Sephiroth. I think it was another Professor Hollander, or Hollander may be responsible for Soldier, but I think he may have been responsible for Genesis and Angeal as well, who were other super soldiers created from similar processes that created Sephiroth. It's funny that the flashback is so long that they give you an opportunity to save the game and take a break. But FF7 is actually not that heavy on story. There's not a lot of scenes where you have the characters in a room just talking to each other. FF8 was a lot worse with this, in my opinion. You spent so much time just watching the character just sitting in a room and talking. So apparently Sephiroth has locked himself in the basement of the mansion. So we will go and see what he's up to. So you have to go upstairs and go to the right. And then down. And go through the hidden door. But you'll see that they edit the sequence to be really snappy. Like, once you come down here and see what Sephiroth is up to, you don't have to walk all the way back out of the mansion. Like, it just cuts to the next scene. And I have a feeling that Hironobu Sakaguchi was behind all of that. He's all about pacing. He wants his games to be paced tightly. And Final Fantasy VII, as far as pacing goes, was his magnum opus. This game is just tightly paced. And everything is meaningful. Feel like there's no filler. And you don't have to do a ton of meaningless backtracking. So he wants to be alone. So you just walk out of the room. And then it just cuts to a scene of Sephiroth just poring over the tomes in the basement. This is definitely a huge step up from FF6. I mean, going from sprites on tile backgrounds to this, having 3D characters moving around in, this is definitely a huge step up from FF6. Can be all shapes, all sizes. You're not just restricted to tiles. And at the same time, the character models don't overload the PlayStation. So you can have plenty of characters on screen at one time, unlike FF8, which limits the on-screen characters to like 6. FF7 was definitely the ideal use of the PSX. And you're almost never staring at a loading screen, so... In fact, you're never staring at a loading screen in this game. So Sephiroth, after perusing the research in the basement of the Shinra mansion, he believes that he is an ancient and that Genova was an ancient, because that is what Professor Gas believed. And he blames the humans for the destruction of the ancients. So he's about to extract his vengeance. And now they make you walk out of the mansion. And it plays Sephiroth music. And it kind of builds this tension, this kind of expectation of what's going to happen. And you walk out to see that the town is ablaze. I mean, if you're going to tell a story in a video game, Hironobu Sakaguchi was the best. Alrighty. Go check Cloud's house. It almost seems like he doesn't have much to say about his mother being murdered. But it may just be a mistranslation. One of the most iconic scenes in the game. Another scene that's been retconned at least a couple times. Save your waifu. Yep. He promised he'd come. The chosen one. Nihilistic villain that becomes a god. Where have we heard this one before? But Sephiroth is definitely one of the most well done villains in the history of fiction. And that's all that Cloud can remember. There's no way that Cloud could have killed Sephiroth. In terms of skill, there's no way he could have killed him. But why is he still alive? And what's Genova doing in the Shinra building? Let's get a move on. Yeah, Cloud thought Tifa had died. And that is that. I think PHS is what the Japanese referred to as a cell phone. In 1997, I had no idea what that was. Alrighty, so there's various treasures that you can pick up by raiding people's cabinets in the town. So, is there anything in here? No. I think each house has a cabinet to raid. And also feel free to talk to people. Stop and smell the roses. Is there anything in here? Guard source. Guard sources are pretty easy to get. This house in the back is a spiral staircase, and you can pick up a weapon for Vincent, which is not extremely useful in my opinion. It's just a 3-slot double growth weapon, but by the time you recruit Vincent, you'll open up 4-slot double growth weapons for most characters, so it's not very useful in my opinion. I think this is the Kalm Traveler's house. I think this NPC was added for the US release because he gives you quests related to the optional super bosses that were added to the US release, Emerald and Ruby weapon.